Hi, Arnie here, and today I'm going to show you how to make this infographic chart. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is bring in a background. So I've already chosen one, and we'll expand that here. Let's bring it to around, let's say 8 seconds, and lock that in place. Great. Okay, so we're going to first do the y-axis. So let's get a rectangle here and some text. And for the text, I chose this font right here. Okay, and let's bring this up and down here and make this a little bit thinner. So right about there is good. Great. Okay, let's expand that to our 8-second mark. Okay, let's set up the text here. We're going to put the first one here at 0%. Let's go and turn our snapping on everything on here. Okay. Okay, we're going to duplicate this now. And we're going to make this one 50%. Bring that to about the halfway mark. And duplicate again. And this will be 100. Okay, so let's animate this part here. What we want the line to do is to animate from nothing and then move upwards. So in order to do that, we're going to have to do a custom animation. And we're going to make this a scale animation from 0 all the way up to 100. Okay, so as we can see here, it's doing nothing. So right now we want the end to be full and we want the beginning to be 0. So we're going to go over here to our scale and unlock it and change the Y scale to 0. But first what we want to do is make sure that it's going to go from the bottom to the top. So in order to do that, we change our rotation point and we'll put that at the bottom. So now it will go from the bottom upwards. If we kept it in the middle, it would start in the middle and then go outwards from that point. So we're going to change the Y scale to 0. And now watch what happens. When you move the scrub bar, it moves upwards. Great. So we're going to move that just in a little bit here. And that's where the whole animation will start. So let's have the 0%, the 50%, and the 100% just pop on. So we're going to go to zoom and do let's do an elastic scale up like that. And we're going to have the 0 come on right when the line is starting. So it'll go like that. And when the line's around 50% here, we'll have the 50 come on. So let's copy this elastic with Control C, and we'll add it here with Control V, and also to the 100. Now in order to have the animation line up a little bit better, I'm going to turn the snapping off on the timeline. There we go. There we are. And when it gets right up to the top there, we'll have the 100 come on. Perfect. So now it's going to look like something like that. Great. Okay, we can also have a title. So again, let's add some text here. We'll call that Infographic. And duplicate that. Okay, and then this one will say chart. And we'll line these up here. Great, and let's color this a nice little blue color here. Something like, oh, maybe a little bit lighter like that. Great. Okay, grab these two and we'll put that at the top. And let's have those pop on when the 100 pops on. So again, we're just going to copy and paste that here. So copy that and paste and paste. So now, when this comes on, it'll look something like that. Great. Okay, so what we're going to do next is since there's 5 bars, I'm going to create the entire first bar, so that way all the animations are done for that bar, and we can duplicate that as we move along. So what I'm going to do is add another rectangle here. And if you remember from the first one, we had initially we want these translucent lines to come on to fill up the entire area. Okay, so let's make it something like that. And we're going to change the opacity here. I made it around, let's say, 30 or so. It's great. Okay. And we're going to have that come on just around this point. When everything comes on, we'll have this bar come on. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this. And we're going to make this the bar that is on top. Oops. Okay, so let's pick this one here. And bring that down. I think I made this around 75%, so we'll have it there, and we're going to bring the opacity up. So this is what the end result's going to look like, and then we'll animate it afterwards. Okay, and I'm going to duplicate this 0 here. And we're going to label this, oops, there we go, A. And we'll put that right down around there. Right in the middle. Okay, now since this is A and under this bar here, I'm going to just bring this up so that it comes on when this light bar comes on. And I'm going to erase that. There we go. That animation, because we want a different animation. So there's the first bar. Now let's animate it. I want this to slide in from the left. So we're going to do a motion in, and let's have it slide to the right, just like that. So we have this slide to the right. And as you'll see, what happens is it's sliding from off the screen and then inwards, and with a fade. Now I don't want it to go from off the screen. I want it to come in a little bit sooner here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to right click and do animation settings. And you can see where the starting X is. So if I have this off screen right there, I want the starting X to actually come right about where the line is. So I can move the slider bar and say where I want this to start. Let's say somewhere right there, so minus 100. Okay, and I still want to use the fade. So now what's going to happen is when this comes on, it starts around there and then slides where it needs to go. And I want that the same thing to happen with the label. So we're going to copy this again. We're on the animation copy. We'll go to A and paste. So again, I'm just going to move this one out of the way for a second just to show you. So now when this bar comes on and the A comes on, they fade in and they slide in. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to have this next part here, this line, come from 0 and come all the way up. But it's not going to happen till later. But I'm going to animate it now because we want to copy this entire bar a few times. So again, when we animate this, we're going to do a custom animation from scale. We're going from the 0 Y scale up to its max. Okay, so that's where the max is. Now let's go to 0. We're going to again go over to our scale, unlock it so we have the X and Y separate, and make the Y 0. So what will happen now is this will come on, and at some point, oh, you see what we did here? I didn't change the rotation point. Okay, let me just delete this here and change the rotation point. So we're going to go scale. Actually, we're going to have to move this now because it changes some things. Okay, let's go this. Put this back at the bottom here to about 75. Change the rotation point first. And now we're going to add a scale animation and start from 0. There we go. So now you can see it's starting from the bottom. All right, so now it will climb up to about 75. Okay, so now we have our first bar. We have the background, we have the bar sliding up, and we have the label. I'm just going to close the tracks down so we just see these 3 tracks here. And I'm going to choose these 3 tracks and I'm going to duplicate them. It duplicates all at once. Now we labeled that one A. I'm going to label this one B so we know where everything is. And I'm going to take these 3 here and we're going to move them using the arrow keys. Now I use the shift arrows to get an exact number. I'm going to move them over 15. So we have a little space in between. Now you can do more. Maybe let's do 20 there. Okay, so now they're exactly apart. So when we do these, they'll be exact. I'm going to change this label to B. Okay, and maybe we want this a little bit lower, so I'll put this down to maybe 25%. Okay, excellent. And let's duplicate that again. Okay, and let's choose that and move it over. Oops. Okay, and we'll call this one C. Now, if you remember on the sample that I showed you, this one was the same color as the infographic, so we can do that now. I'm going to grab the C and change the color using the eyedropper, and we'll hover over the letters here, and you'll see that the color will change over the eyedropper tool. So you know that's not the right color. Let's try that again. There we go. And the same with the bar here. Oh, let's try one more time. There we are. Okay. Duplicate again. That one's going to be D. Great. Now, of course, we have to bring that one back to white. And of course, you can do this differently. I'm just showing you an option here. And this one will go up to about 75 again. This one I put a little bit higher, maybe to 90 or so. And lastly, we're going to duplicate the D one again and duplicate there, and we'll call this one E. There we are. Now you can label all the rectangles yourself as well if you choose. I'm just doing this for simplicity. So let's choose now the E. Okay, so this is the gist of the chart here. So as you'll see, what's happening is they're all coming on, they're all duplicated, so they're all coming on, and then everything's moving up. So this actually looks pretty good. Happens all at once. And if you want to now shift this around a little bit, what I would do is, let's say we start the A one here. So the A is I'm going to open these up. Let's open them all up. Just makes things a little bit more visual here. Okay. So let's say, let's say we want these to come in succession. So I'm going to choose this one here, and as you can see, it's coming on right about there. And I want this one to come in afterwards. Let's say once this is on about halfway. So I'm going to put this about halfway there in the animation, right there. And now we're going to have this one come in at that point. Okay, so it's coming in there now. When this one's halfway, we'll move upwards, and I'm going to choose the C one here, and we're going to bring that to about there. Good. Okay, now when this rectangle here is halfway, we'll have this one come on. So it does take a little bit of time to set all these animations in motion. Okay, and we're going to bring that one on right about there. Okay, so ignore these solid bars for a second. What you'll see is that the background bars come one after another. Now we'll have these bars come in after the translucent bars come on. So they end right about there. And now let's go back and do each of these bars. Oh, you see something that's happening here is the A, B, and C are coming on together too. So let's actually line those up with their successive bars. This time I'm going to take snapping on the timeline and turn it on to make things easier. So let's go, A is going to come on at the right time. Let's go to B. So we're going to slide down here to where our B's are right there. And there's our rectangle. We want the B to now match with that. There we go. Okay, let's go to C. So the C we want to match to this one. Good. The D we're going to have match with this one here. So let's move that over here. There we go. And the E will match there. So now you'll notice that the A, B, C, and D are coming on when the background rectangles are coming on. I think I moved that one over a little bit, so let's just move that there. Okay. Okay. Now, once everything is on, we're going to have these bars start coming in. So let's go to A, down here where the A's are, and we'll have this start about there. And again, what I'm going to do is shut off the snapping on the timeline just to make things a little bit easier. And when that's about halfway, we'll get this bar come on. So you see I'm keeping my scrub bar here in the middle so I can align it properly. There we go. When that's halfway, we'll get this one come on. As you can see, I'm running out of time here, so we are going to have to extend this a little bit. And the D, yeah, let's do a bit of an extension here. We're going to do everything. So let's move this to, let's say, 10 seconds, and then we can just move everything over. And again, just for ease, we'll turn the snapping back on. And just snap the end of everything. As you can see, whenever you're doing any type of animation, you really have to plan it out, or you just need to change it afterwards. And there we go. And just a couple more here. Perfect. Okay. So let's go back to where we were here. We're going to get this one here. So the C came on. Go back to the C here. I'm going to go halfway. And we're going to pick the one with D. Right about there. And then we'll finally pick the last one, E. And move it around there. So now, if we go back, you'll see everything come on in succession exactly the way we want. Okay, let's actually make this one a little bit shorter here. Same as that one. Excellent. Okay, now the other thing is we want to take this chart and make it a little bit more centered into, maybe make it a bit smaller. So we can do everything at once. We can, oops, didn't lock that. Let's lock that. That's why it's important to lock your backgrounds. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is grab everything using the mouse. Now you can see that we have the nodes here so we can move everything at once. I just want to show you that if we move the scrub bar to somewhere where there is an animation, so right here, see it's crossing an animation, the nodes disappear. So we can move this around, and when we get to an area where there is absolutely no animation, now we can grab everything and move them together. So I can take this whole thing, make it a bit smaller, and let's center it here. That looks good. I'm going to take maybe this title here And we'll center it right in the middle of this one bar here. Okay, let's grab it again, and we can center this nicely on the page. Perfect. And that's it. Okay, so now when we play it, we have a very nice looking infographic chart. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching, and happy creating.